that mile. And if you've ever watched any of my live stream stuff, I kind of fumble through this. I'm still trying to figure out exactly how to get it to stream to YouTube through my, uh, I guess I use Riverside here. I think I actually have it going now the correct way, and I think it's actually labeled the right way. Last few times I've had it labeled the same thing that I did a live stream on the time before, so it was kind of confusing. But so anyway, let me get into this. It's the Somali Daycare Fraud in Minneapolis, in Minnesota, all the fraud in Minnesota. Update. You guys have all seen or at least heard about the Nick Shirley video that he put out, I think a couple of days ago. Now, let me look at the 26th. I'm pulling up his X account right now. On the 26th, I'll post it here. I'll get it going just so you can see what I'm talking about here.
Hello, we'd like to ask where the money's going. What do you guys think about the fraud that's taking place here in Minnesota?
I don't think anybody is enabling fraud to happen.
Hold Governor Walz accountable for this.
What was this money spent on? 1.26 million. What was that money spent on? There aren't any kids.
Answer the question. Are there children? There's no children inside this building.
Potentially the largest fraud scandal in U.S.
So I'm not going to play the whole thing for you. You can watch it. You should watch it. I haven't watched the entire thing, but I know what he did, which is super cool. And he's gotten some flack, some people pushing back. Obviously, Democrats are not happy with how exposed they are here in Minnesota with this. It just keeps snowballing. Things keep coming out of the woodwork, fraud everywhere, and then it connects to Maine and it connects to Washington State and on and on. I think somebody from Ohio is like, Nick, come here and do some investigations here because you're going to find the same thing here. So very cool video. I'm glad that he did this, and all he did, for the most part, I know it took him a lot of work and he had a partner. He went to a bunch of daycares, Somali daycares that are listed on the Minnesota, they're public. Information about these daycares is public because they receive public funds. And he just went and he knocked at like 10 or 15 of them and just said, hey, there's no kids here. What's the deal, you guys? And they have the numbers. You guys received $2 million last year, but there's no kids here. And one of the things that he received as pushback is that, oh, it's Christmas break. He just did this last week, Christmas break. All the kids are home, school's out and all that kind of stuff. Well, I don't think that he did most of his investigation last week. I think December 16th, somebody identified at least one of the dates was December 16th. So before the kids would have been on break. And just the responses that he gets at these places, he gets adults to come to some of them, come to the door, and they say things like, why would you want to do that? He would say like, hey, I want to sign up my kid for daycare. And they were like, why? One place was like, no, we're completely full. His partner, and I don't know his partner's name, is from Minnesota, from my understanding. And again, the pushback is that you did this over Christmas break. You did this on the weekends when these places were closed. And this guy's like, no, I've been living in Minnesota for years. I've gone by at least some of these places for years and then even stopped in morning, noon, and night multiple times. And there's never any kids there. So big deal. Now, the state has come back and pushed. Oh, so one thing was when I heard about this fraud, where I am in Minnesota, we have some daycares that we have over the years had allegations of this type of thing. And so I pulled up the DHS website last week and just looked at how many daycares, how many care facilities, because there's not just daycares for kids, but there's adult daycare. And some people think that that's like a funny name. Why would you need adult daycare? But, adults with disabilities, they're very hard to manage and very hard to care for, and so they might have a caregiver who's at home with them 24 hours a day, and so they pay. Also use the term respite. Just give caregivers a break, where they can bring this person to get care for 6 or 8 hours, just to get a break, just to from constantly having to take care of just caregiver exhaustion. And so that's what an adult daycare really is. So those are listed, and I started looking through a few of them, and it's pretty interesting that the DHS website. I didn't find the money part of it, but I didn't go that deep digging into it. But I did see, you click on one, and then you can see all the visits and the red flags. The during a site visit, there were a number of things that were listed, and on some of the ones that I looked at had multiple year after year, the same things, same red flags, being put on, for lack of a better term, probation. And it didn't seem like anything really changed, but it's a DHS website, it's a state website, it's not all on there. So Nick Shirley's video came out, went viral, and I happened to start looking again this morning on the same website, and lo and behold, I got in a little bit, and then it just spun. It just spun and spun. And I thought, you know what? People are doing the exact same thing that I'm doing right now. Everybody wants to search for daycares and care facilities in their communities and see what they can find out. And so I thought just the website was completely overloaded. And turns out, at least according to DHS, that is the case, that it is overloaded or has been overloaded, and I think they shut it down. And here's what you'll get if you try and look up anything on the Department of Human Services licensing page right now. You'll get this. Due to unprecedented high volume of traffic, the website caused server disruption and website outages. I think they deactivate it, are actively working on the issue. Well, maybe not. Maybe they are in fact actively working on the issue and they didn't deactivate it. I thought they likely deactivated the website for right now. But and the other thing is, that it's in the middle of this scandal, and I thought maybe they shut it down and are starting to kind of change things around and wipe things that, because this fraud is so unprecedented that it cannot be just neglect, or just people who don't know how to do their jobs. There's got to be some insiders. There's got to be some people inside who are helping out. These care facilities should be checked every year or multiple times a year. And for them to be checked and there's no kids there, and somebody actually doing their job and actually concerned about this and not turning a blind eye and not getting kickbacks or whatever they would do, these places would have been caught and shut down already. So there has to be some inside work here. Now, what really got interesting is then today, so Nick Shirley's video popped off. Then today, what's his name? Let me pull it up here. Lou Ragazzi. Let me pull up he's from Care 11. Let me share this. Okay, so this guy here, Lou Ragazzi. I mean, if you watch the news in Minnesota at all, you've seen him. He's been on Twitter. You can see he's been on Twitter since 2008. So Lou Ragazzi, did a... Why am I not seeing my notifications here? He did a video, just a quick video on X about this, and I'll show you this.
Everyone seems to be talking about the viral video by YouTuber Nick Shirley visiting Somali-run daycares in Minnesota that received millions in taxpayer money and showing a lack of kids present. Well, I have a strange twist for you. The daycare that's getting the most attention from Shirley's video is the Quality Learning Center, misspelled as Quality Luring Center.
Isn't that crazy? Look at Quality Luring Center right on their huge sign.
While answering questions today, the state commissioner in charge of licensing daycares claimed that the Quality Learning Center permanently closed 1 week ago, which would have been before Shirley filmed his video. Listen.
I will share that our team was notified that Quality Learning Center closed just over a week ago.
So she just sneaks that in here. I have the full video and I want to show this to you. Her name is Tiki Brown. Let me pull up the information that I have. Tiki Brown, Commissioner of the Minnesota Department of Children, Youth and Family. She was appointed by Governor Tim Walz in November of 2023 and officially started in January of 2024. She has 20 years of experience in child welfare in Minnesota. Before this role, she served as the Deputy Commissioner at DHS, overseeing child safety and permanency programs. She has 20 years in child welfare, starting as a social worker in Minnesota, held leadership positions in child protection, including director roles in Hennepin County. She's an expert in trauma-informed care, equity in child services, and reducing racial disparities in foster care. Advocate for policies to prevent child maltreatment and support families. During her tenure at DHS, she helped implement reforms like the Safe and Stable Home Initiative. That's basically it. She was appointed by Walz and started in January of 2024 in the commissioner role here. So let me show you what she had. A press conference, like a Zoom press conference, and a number of people from the media came. So here, hopefully you can see this. So she's featured, obviously, and you can see these are all on the right-hand side. These are all different news agencies here, and she spoke with them. You can see the timeline here for 12 minutes. She did a little pre-speech thing, and then they got to ask her questions. And I will try and remember to play this full video at the very end of my live stream here because it's pretty interesting. But I want you to listen to what she says. You heard on Lou Rugazi's little video that she mentioned that the Leering, Quality Leering Center, what's supposed to be the Quality Learning Center, closed a week ago, a week prior to Nick Shirley showing up there, doing his investigation, and just so happened that she knew, and she just kind of slyly puts it out there, like, yeah, one of the daycare centers featured in Nick's video was this Quality Learning Center. We did learn that they had closed a week ago, and so I want you to hear just kind of, I don't know, hopefully you get a gist of how she just kind of slips it in there. And I think I'll play most of this. Again, I'm going to try and play the full 12 minutes at the end here, but listen to this. If you paid attention to Nick's video, Marco, the one that she mentioned that closed a like a year ago or more, I think was named Marco. So if you have any information about that and want to look into that. Yeah, she needed to repeat. The next answer is really interesting. Also noted that they were, after this video popped, as Nick Shirley's video popped off, they had people out checking these places right away Monday morning. Mako, there you go. So I'll stop it there for this. The so here's where it gets crazy. So okay, hey, that place was closed. One of the places that Nick Shirley visited as he was going around Minneapolis was closed. Had closed, happened to have closed a week ago, and now she says she thought it was space. They had some space issues, and so that's what her understanding was as to why they closed. But they received word that Quality Learning Center was closing or had closed a week ago, a week prior to her doing this news conference. And then we get let me share this. So then while she is while she is doing this, I think while she is doing this press conference, this is going on at the same time.
Area. Don't come this area. What's your response to the allegations? Is there fraud going on here? No, it's a video. I just want to know. What's your response? Huh? Get the out of here. What's your response to the allegations? Is there fraud going on here? And is there children? That's all. Don't harass me over here.
So there you go. That's from the Washington Post. They went there this morning, and Somali children were being brought in vans to the Quality Learning Center. Like dozens of them. That's the best video I've seen as far as how many people were actually. But you see cars there. This guy who's videotaping, the guy from the Post who's, asking the questions, swearing at him, mad at him that he's there to look into this. And they're bringing kids into the Quality Learning Center Monday morning. But Tiki Brown, the commissioner, said that the Quality Learning Center had closed down a week ago. And Tiki Brown said that they received word from the Quality Learning Center a week ago that they were closing down. You see how big a deal that is? She is the commissioner. And she is going on the news and saying that this Quality Learning Center had come to us, and we got word that they were closing. So before that, they were open. And in that press conference, I will play at the very end of this. I'll play the whole thing for you. They asked, she said, every one of these facilities has been checked at least once over the last year. And then one of the newsies asked, and were there kids there? And her response was yes. And that was it. That yes, there were children at each one of these child care facilities when they were checked. So the problem is that she is the commissioner, and she is saying that they received a report a week ago that Quality Learning Center was closing down, and then Quality Learning Center shipped in kids Monday morning after seeing the fallout from Nick Shirley's video. That's a problem. And that goes back to what I just said and what we all were thinking. This has to be an inside job. There is too much fraud for this not to be an inside job. And maybe it didn't start as an inside job, but politicians want to stay politicians. They want to get elected. They want to keep getting reelected. And unfortunately, I think that they turned a blind eye to this, or they help facilitate it, or, God forbid, some of them are even receiving kickbacks, or their family is receiving kickbacks. There is all sorts of fraud connected here. There are representatives in Minnesota. There is one in particular whose wife, I think, owned a care facility. There was some other shady stuff like that. The roots grow deep in this one, and to dig this all out is going to take a lot. But I think there are going to be a lot of people in a lot of trouble, and I hope that people actually get in trouble for this time. I mean, every time, especially in government, they're talking about waste, fraud, and abuse and just major allegations, and then nobody gets charged, nobody goes to jail. This is billions of dollars of federal money flushed down the toilet, and they're caught red-handed. There's 78 or something with the Feeding Our Future. Feeding Our Future is connected to Keith Ellison. Keith Ellison went and met with some of the members of Feeding Our Future and told them that he would help stop investigations and keep the money flowing. Ilhan Omar was the one who introduced the legislation to get the Feeding Our Future program that they used up and running. It just goes deep, man, but this is crazy. So the commissioner, the Minnesota Department, let me read it again. So she is commissioner of the Minnesota Department of Children, Youth, and Families, DCYF. Her name is Tiki Brown. She was appointed like in late 2023, but started January 2024 in this role, appointed by Governor Tim Walz. And she just went on the record and said that that Quality Learning Center had given DHS or the, what is it, DCYF notice that they were closing a week prior to Nick Shirley showing up there. And then Monday morning, after Nick Shirley's video pops off, while Tiki Brown is doing her press conference and saying that they closed down a week ago, they are actively shipping kids to the daycare center to show that it's open, to show that kids actually go there. That is a problem. I can't wait to hear what the fallout is tomorrow, Tuesday. Obviously, we're on Tuesday already, but Tuesday morning, what's coming of this? But thanks for watching. Steve Loomis with Walking That Mile. So like I promised, I will share the full video now. Full video of that press conference. Here we go.
Tiki Brown forward. She is the commissioner of the Department of Children, Youth, and Families, and we know there's been some news over the weekend that many of you are interested in. She has a brief statement to share, and then we can take questions from you. So Tiki, if you want to come on camera and open your mic, we'll get you spotlighted for everybody.
All right, thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity to speak to you all today. My name is Tiki Brown. I'm the Commissioner of the Department of Children, Youth, and Families. And just making sure the spotlight is working.
It is.
We're in good? Okay, excellent. All right. So again, thank you for joining today and allowing me the opportunity to join this press conference. We are aware of a video that's being circulated that has gained local and national attention about child care centers in Minnesota. While we have questions about some of the methods that were used in the video, we do take the concerns that the video raises about fraud very seriously. Each of the facilities mentioned in the video has been visited at least once in the last 6 months as part of our typical licensing process. And in fact, our staff are out in the community today to visit each of these sites again so that we can look into the concerns that were raised in the video. At the Department of Children, Youth, and Families, we care about making sure that every dollar of the Child Care Assistance Program and other programs is going where it's supposed to be going and used as intended. We have no tolerance for fraud, and we're committed to doing everything we can to investigate allegations and quickly respond to issues. Minnesota has a robust system for childcare licensing and program integrity. We have made significant improvements to the process in 2018, again in 2019, and continue to evolve our efforts. We also know that fraudsters are also evolving their tactics, and so we are on a continuous improvement process to ensure that we are aware of those methods and are addressing needs and concerns that are raised. All Minnesotans, community members, local business owners, center employees, parents, concerned citizens can submit a tip to the Department of Children, Youth, and Families if they suspect fraud. Information about reporting fraud can be found on our website at dcyf.mn.gov/report-fraud. And with that, I'm happy to take any questions that folks have.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Brown. So we'll start out with Lou Raguse at KARE 11. Lou, what's your question?
Thanks for taking my question. So if these places were visited in the last 6 months, were those unannounced visits or were they announced and even scheduled in advance?
Great question. So all child care centers in Minnesota receive one annual visit from the Department of Children, Youth, and Families from our licensors, and these visits are unannounced in order to best evaluate the center's normal operations. These visits generally focus on licensing standards to ensure that the children in the center are safe and well cared for. And if there are any program integrity concerns, then these are also reported by our licensors and evaluated to determine additional investigations that need to occur.
So then just as a follow-up, when these particular ones from the video were visited, were there children there?
There were.
Thanks for the question, Lou, and the answers. Commissioner, let's go to Ryan at KSTP.
Given your response to Lou right there, you said there were children present at each one of these unannounced visits. I mean, the number of kids present, did it match what your records show? Can you elaborate a little bit on, is there an inconsistency of what we see in this video? And do you dispute what this video is saying?
Sure, I can elaborate a little. So we do have, as part of our licensing regulations, we do have the number of children that are available and able to be at centers, and our teams do match against who we will see in the visits on any given day that they visit. We are also aware that children may be out, due to illnesses, et cetera, and so there are some variances that occur. I think with the video, what we certainly saw is, I think we have questions around when were these visits, when were the videos taken? For instance, were they during times that the center was scheduled to be open? Was it during the weekend? I think there's some clarity and questions that we'd like a little bit of, additional information on, which is why our teams are out today, making additional unannounced visits to, again, confirm, are there children in these child care centers, and gathering additional information from these centers so that we can answer any of the concerns that were raised in these videos.
Thank you, Commissioner. Let's go again to Quinn and KTTC in Rochester. Quinn.
Hi, Commissioner. It appears that the Department of Homeland Security is visiting some of these facilities today. I'm wondering if you could just comment on whether DCYF or any other state agencies, as far as you're aware, are cooperating with or working with, I guess, those federal investigators, and any other comments you have on that.
You were a little hard to hear, but I think what I heard is it appears that there's some federal visits that are occurring, and if there's some cooperation between state agencies.
Sorry, let me see if I can get a little closer to the mic here. Any comment on the DHS, Department of Homeland Security, sort of working and visiting some of these facilities today?
So I'm not aware of any operation that is occurring from the Department of Homeland Security. Certainly, I may not be up to date on my emails, but I don't believe that we were informed, of that operation. We will certainly look into that and see, what more we can learn about that. But to my knowledge, I don't have any information that has been shared with us from Homeland Security about any operation that they're conducting with these childcare centers.
Thank you, Commissioner Brown. Jeff at the Star Tribune, go ahead with your question. And then we'll probably have to finish up with Ken after Jeff. Go ahead, Jeff. Jeff, we can't hear you.
Yep, I got a two-parter. So first off, has the state, as response to the video, paused payments or planning to pause payments to any of these 10 or so centers that were named in Nick Shirley's report? And number two, had the department previously, before this video was released, had it ever identified or flagged any of these centers as concerning in terms of, signs for fraud? Had you paused payments or withheld payments or denied reimbursement claims because of questions about, whether these were fraudulent or, in some kind of improper request for money?
Sure. So we don't, for the current child care centers that have been named in the video, we have not paused. There isn't a current pause on any of their payments. They are, those continue to move forward. As we gain more information from the folks that are out visiting today and gathering additional information, that may change. But currently, there is no pause on any of the those individual centers. Several of these centers have been evaluated for program integrity in past several years. Some of them have been operated for a number of years. One of the centers, Quality Learning Center, closed just over a week ago. I think another one that was mentioned had closed maybe even several years ago. So there have been ongoing investigations with several of those centers. None of those investigations uncovered findings of fraud. So that's where they currently stand. I will say, regardless of past findings, our team is just committed to making sure that we address any of the concerns that currently have appeared with the video, and that's why we are committed to working today to gather information and to assess and analyze additional information for those centers that were identified.
Thanks, Commissioner. Ken Bensinger at the New York Times. Go ahead with your question.
Hello, Commissioner. Thanks for this time. My question sort of comes off the last one, which is I noticed looking at some of these that there at least in some cases have been investigations of other kinds of issues that are non-fraud related. I know from personal experience with my own children that sometimes child care places have these kinds of investigations. It's not uncommon. Would any of those kinds of violations lead to children not being there, for example? Is there kind of violation that would lead to temporary shutdown or otherwise interruption of their normal business practices? And also, separate part of the question is you mentioned Quality Learning Center and another one having closed down. Can you tell us a little bit more about why they were closed down?
Sure. So to your first question, I think you were asking if there are any type of licensing infractions that might cause a temporary closure or a portion of the children not, being available at the center. None to my knowledge, and that's I will acknowledge I don't have full understanding of some of the nuances there, but for the child care centers that were named and that are being visited today, there is no current action that would limit the children, that they are licensed to provide services to. So that's part one. I think for part two, you might have to repeat it again. I'm sorry.
That's no problem. You had mentioned Quality Learning Center having shut down a week ago, and a separate one, which you didn't name specifically from, I guess, the video that had closed down earlier this year. Can you provide us some more color on what the motivations were for closing those two facilities down?
So I don't. So I will say we generally don't disclose information if we have a current open investigation. That's in order to preserve the integrity of the information that needs to be gathered. So I won't go into any detail about whether or not any of these have any open investigations. I will share that our team was notified that Quality Learning Center closed just over a week ago. And I believe the details that were given at that time were around space concerns. And that's what was shared. The previous one I mentioned that had been closed some time ago was MAKO, M-A-K-O.
M-A-K-O. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. And you went a little overtime. We appreciate that to answer those questions.
There we go. So that's that. So that's the full press conference that she did on the morning or early afternoon of the 29th. That's all I've got. Hopefully I'll have some updates tomorrow night if I can get back on here about what happens this morning, Tuesday morning, after the fallout from the press conference and the juxtaposition of the fact that a bunch of kids showed up at the daycare that was supposed to be closed a week ago. So, again, Steve Loomis, Walking That Mile, thanks so much.